Rain and motorsports, oil and water. The two simply don't mix. In most cases, just the slightest hint usually means lengthy delays and even postponement. But the monster truck is a hardy machine. Not even a chorus of showers will keep these behemoths from their appointed duties. And coming up next, high-revving engines will be singing in the rain from a wet and soggy Indiana State Fairgrounds. This is Trucks and Tractor Power, featuring the all-stars of the four-wheel and off-road Jamboree Monster Truck Series. Today, it's the PENDA four-wheel and off-road Jamboree Fall Nationals from the Indiana State Fairgrounds here in Indianapolis. Hi, everybody. I'm Gary Lee, and welcome to Trucks and Tractor Power on the Nashville Network. I have to tell you, I'm just a tad embarrassed. This is my hometown. I'm the host for this gathering, and Mother Nature has not been hospitable. It's been raining for several days. It's a quagmire out there in the infield. So to find out what effect the weather will have on today's monster truck competition, let's go trackside to my colleague, Army Armstrong.
Hey, Gary, what kind of hospitality is this, man? It's miserable weather out here today, and that presents some unique problems, not only for us and the rest of the film crew. We're going to get this thing through for you, but also the drivers. Now, they're back in the pit area trying to get the engines dialed down. They're trying to take horsepower away from the engine. There's going to be three key pieces to this event today. The starting line is going to be the first one. You're going to see these big old tires get a hold of a bite and grab a hold of a real slippery surface. Then the detuned engines are going to take over in the middle of the track, the area we call no man's land. But there's a third piece that could be the trump card in this whole thing, and that's going to be the very end of the track, where those big old tires that normally are spinning this way may wind up going this way, because there's no bite on the other end of this track to stop these 10,000-pound monsters. Gary, everybody's trying to figure the pieces to the puzzle out in which order they go. Let's see who's going to do just that. Back to you.
Well, Army, it was a destructive day yesterday in qualifying, just trying to make the field. This is Rich Cummings out of Coldwater, Michigan, in the Mad Max.
Yeah, his left front suspension completely collapsed. You know, picture's worth 1,000 words. I can't tell you anymore. Tough break to get into this dirty dozen. To be 12 top monster trucks to make this PENDA series, these guys have literally got it on kill.
Well, also yesterday in the King Crunch Auto Value, Chevrolet, Rob Grossman had his problems.
Once again, the suspension. Gary, we're at the time of the year when this equipment is starting to show the wear and tear and beating and banging is taken. Perfect example right there. Grossman shuts it down, rolls to a stop, unable to stop it with the brakes. Long shutdown area came in handy here on this one.
And the fast qualifier yesterday would be Rick Rattler and Snake Bite. Now, once again, this was the day before we talked about all the rain. Yesterday was kind of dry. Not bad conditions for qualifying.
Yeah, all the drivers were tickled to death with the situation. However,
this is
only
today.
People happy today are the little
This
duckies.
is what it looks like out there right now. Round one competition. It was Rick Rattler, the fast qualifier, against Brian Welsh in moving violation. And it was all Rick Rattler. Welsh had nothing for Snake Bite.
As a matter of fact, when Welsh left the starting line, all four wheels just spun. He literally just slid to a stop up in start of the second jump.
Then in round one, it was Ken Dempy in the Dodge Express against Don Van Loo in the Magnum Force, and it was all the Dodge Express.
Yeah, all the way through, but we started noticing a lot of things here as the time comes up on the scoreboard of a 5.66. That's not a bad time. Miserable weather, miserable track conditions. These big old monster trucks don't even know they get a 6:33 and a loser in effort.
Couple of new faces on the PENDA Points trail. Pam Butters, the wife of Mike, who normally campaigns the Black Stallion. And Guy Wood, a great-looking piece called the Hulk, the Boogie Van, right there on the far side. There is Pam Butters, and there is the Hulk.
Good race side by side. Two rookie drivers. Looks like the Hulk takes the win,
By
Gary.
just a fender, he will advance.
He records a 6:33. The young lady, a very, very strong run for a brand new vehicle. She's working the bugs out. She goes a 6:44, Gary.
Well, also in round one, we saw Andy Brass in Wildfoot, who was the #2 qualifier, meet up with Paul Schaefer's Monster Patrol, and it was all Mr. Brass.
Yeah, but the shutdown area provided a little bit of activity for us, too.
Well, they did all that shutdown area here this weekend because of the very wet conditions here in Indianapolis.
And it's still raining. As you can see, Andy went a 5.51, a 5.78, loses that round.
Fred SHAFER and Mark Hall squared off against one another in round one, and it was Barefoot advancing. Fred SHAFER, the old-time drag racer.
Something we're starting to notice, a lot of the wins are coming out of the same lane. The drivers are starting to watch each other. The track is developing a personality. SHAFER, a 583 in the brand new 94 Dodge truck. That's a brand new truck for him. Hall, he nets a 6.66.
Well, we also might mention that Gene Patterson had a bye run in Bigfoot. He'll be in round two action. It's coming your way in the rain from Indianapolis. We are back at the Indiana State Fairgrounds here in Indianapolis, where Ford Trucks present the PENDA four-wheel and off-road Jamboree Fall Nationals, a part of the B.F. Goodrich Performance Series. Gary Lee, along with Army Armstrong, ready for round two action. Snakebite against the Dodge Express, Bigfoot and Hulk, and the Barefoot Dodge against Wildfoot. And look at the mud, look at the rain. It is just a quagmire out here, but the fans are here and the monsters are here.
You know, any other kind of motorsport, everybody would have been back in the hotel right now talking. That's not the case with these monster guys. They came to race, they're going to race. Rick Rattler, this kid's making a name for himself. The owner of the truck, Colt Cobra, is out doing some research and development. He puts Rick in the seat. Rick's going to go up against Ken Deppy out of Jeff City, Missouri. Again, another driver that somebody picked to go into that seat. Fred SHAFER picked Deppy to go into the seat of the number 2 Dodge.
These are kind of hired guns out there right now, and there's the shootout, round two. Hey, look at this. Well, there's a breakage on the big red Dodge, and Rattler in Snakebite will advance.
Boy, they're drilling some decent times. What happened? Deppy came off that first jump a little bit crooked. Rules say you've got to hit the second jump with your front tires. He knew he wasn't going to do it, so instead of tearing something up, check the replay out. He just very wisely backpedaled right here. Now watch when he comes off. See, he's crooked right now.
Meanwhile, Rick Rattler sails to the victory, and he's with Army.
Ricky, you guys have really got your hands full out there. You're not only racing a truck in the other lane, you're racing your lane. You're trying to drive your truck on a really less than ideal situation.
That's right, Army. You know, it's really rough out there. PENDA Point Series today, you know, it was really dry, and it was nice last night. We did a good qualifying time. We ended up qualifying first, and we're not really changing anything as far as driving habits with this truck, just because it weighs a little more than everybody else's, and it seems to be hooking up. You know, me and my crew chief, Kenny, we talked about it, and Hervey, and we worked it out at the beginning of the show, and so far it's working, so we'll see what happens.
As round two action continues, we look at the Hawk, a newcomer to the PENDA Point Series. This is Guy Wood.
Normally, Gary, Guy comes on a book basis. This is open competition. His graphic comes up. You notice a beautiful truck, the graphics on the truck. The drivers are really taking their time to get their own identity. We told you before about the yellow and orange stripe down the side of Bigfoot. That's an indication that it is the racing version of Bigfoot that Gene Patterson out of St. Louis will be driving in this round. I'm glad to see this kid come over and go racing in a Chevrolet. The Hawk, a beautiful truck, new kid on the block. Hopefully, he'll make a name for himself, because so far the Dodge and Fords have been dominating, manhandling this PENDA Point Series.
First half of the race was close. Second half, look at that. It was all Ford, Bigfoot, Gene Patterson.
I think experience has a lot to do with that. A 5.76, Gary, that's an awfully good time considering the conditions they're running in.
7:13 for Guy Wood. Again, very close off the starting gate. However, the second half of the run was all experience.
Yeah, you're exactly right. When it settled down in no man's land. But then again, look at the rain. I mean, folks, it's raining hard here. It's not just a little, it's a rainstorm going on, and we're racing. We're going to take it right to the end.
All the fans are trying to sneak back up underneath the grandstand to stay dry here in the...
same as our producer and director. We're the ones standing out in the rain.
Yeah. They're back in the remote truck where it's dry and warm.
Well, Fred SHAFER rolled out of Pontoon Beach, Illinois in a brand new truck. When I say brand new, I mean it. Dodge said they designed a new truck. That's what it's all about. He goes against this truck, Andy Brass, in the awesome Wildfoot. This is a truck that's been writing a legend for itself, a legend of its own time, driven by none other than Andy Brass out of St. Louis.
Well, as you indicated, there is that brand new body style, the 94 Dodge pickup body style.
Yeah, they took all the engineers, put them in a room, said we're starting with a clean piece of paper and we're going to build a truck. They built a good one.
Who won that one? Who won that one?
Andy worked hard. Fred was right there. Let's wait and see. Brass goes a 5:43, Gary. You take the Dodge's time.
Brass by an eyelash, perhaps? Yes, 5:50 for Fred SHAFER. So Andy Brass advances in Wildfoot. Look at the rain.
For the very first run on a vehicle, I am impressed. That thing's only going to, that little thing we're talking about here, the red truck's only going to get better, quicker, faster, fly longer, higher.
A lot of experience in the cockpit. Fred Schaefer in barefoot, but the winner's Andy Brass. Here he is with Army.
Gary, Andy Brass will not come out of the truck, and he's got a good reason behind it. We're going to get him to tell us it has to do with his shoes. Andy's telling us what the deal is.
Well, the conditions here at the PENDA Point Series, BF Goodrich Series is wet. You know, we got the mud on the track, the mud out here in the pits, and the guys are trying to stay in their trucks, keep their feet dry. Otherwise, you end up with mud on your foot controls, and it's hard enough to keep the trucks going straight between the cars, let alone try to keep your feet on the foot or on the brake. You know, you don't need the mud to be sliding around.
Well, that's the problem with us, Army. We're not keeping our feet very dry. We're coming back. Stay with us. We are back at the Indiana State Fairgrounds, where Ford presents the PENDA Four-Wheel and Off-Road Jamboree Fall Nationals, a part of the BF Goodrich Performance Series. As we get ready for semifinal action, here are the matchups. Snakebite against Barefoot, the fast loser from the previous round, and Bigfoot against Wildfoot. So we had Dodge and 3 Fords. That first matchup will be Barefoot the Dodge against Snakebite the Ford. Rick Rattler against Fred Schaefer. And earlier, Army had a chance to talk to Rick about that shootout.
Fred Schaefer and that Dodge are like an old bad penny. They just keep coming back and coming back. You got to put him away.
Yeah, I do. You know, Army, it's real tough. It's wet out here. We got lane choice again. We're going back to the right lane. I think the truck's going to work there. All I got to do is work with the truck. Like I say, the Ford Snakebite's been tough, but I think we can put Fred Schaefer and that Dodge away.
Well, there is a look at the brand new 94 body style for that Dodge pickup truck. In your right lane, Fred Schaefer. The left lane, Snakebite, was the fast qualifier in much drier conditions yesterday.
You know, that Dodge truck has got everybody buzzing back in the pit area. People coming from all over to watch it to see how it runs. Right now, it's just a race truck, and he's going on a trailer. Yeah.
Rick Rattler, the Snakebite. Time 5:53.
Well, the numbers are there today. They're turning some good numbers.
And despite the inclement weather.
Exactly. Well, the new Dodge will have to wait for another day to take his first win. Right now, the kid rolls over into the final.
But I think you'll be seeing a whole lot more of Fred Schaefer in that Dodge as we look one more time.
Oh, no doubt about it. Schaefer, the horsepower is there. This might be a case, we told you earlier, they're having to detune the engine. Too much horsepower slow you down in the middle.
There's the margin of victory, almost a truck length.
Plus, I want you to notice something else. Every win today has come out of the same lane, and you can't do it in the final. Somebody's going to have to go over into what we call the bad lane. That's where the Dodge was that time.
A look there at Andy Brass in Wildfoot. He pulls alongside Gene Patterson and Bigfoot. Now, the drivers are saying the far lane where Andy is softer in the takeoff area. The takeoff area where Gene Patterson is more compact right now, so the drivers in the right lane are getting a better shot at the light. And earlier, Army talked to Gene.
Gene, on a day like today, does horsepower help or hurt you?
It hurts us pretty bad here, Army. You know, we was back in the pits doing a little tuning on it. We put a new Indy camshaft in it last night. We seen the rain coming in. We're trying to tune the motor down here on this BF Goodrich PENDA Point Series race. It's tough out here. It's real slick out here. With the tire combination we're running, we think we're going to do okay. You know, we're just hanging in there till the next round.
All right, back to the race now. Once again, the far lane, Wildfoot, with Andy Brass. Bigfoot, the near lane, with Gene Patterson.
And the big difference, like you say, Patterson is starting on a harder surface. This lane actually was built, I believe, over some gravel, and it doesn't dig down as much as the far lane.
But the far lane is getting a much better bite at the starting light.
Doesn't count. First win of the day out of that lane.
Trouble. Yeah. You're right. First win of the day out of that lane. Gene Patterson at 576. Brass had some trouble the last half of the run.
That's the second vehicle we've seen today that didn't get off the first jump straight, and it cost them. Deppy had problems earlier in the Dodge. To see what's going to happen here.
Got to watch the far lane. Andy Brass gets a skew of those cars about right here. And he's in trouble, and of course the victory goes to Gene Patterson. So we go back trackside. Here's Gene with Army.
All right, Gene, here we go. You and Snakebite. Have you been here before? Can you handle it?
Well, you know, Army, the Ford Power Wheels Bigfoot, we're working pretty hard out here. The guys are all running around here. We all got our race electronics radios on. We're trying to communicate. As you can see, the track's real sloppy out here. We're trying to keep the motor tuned down because it just ain't taking the horsepower this weekend here on this PENDA Point Series. We're going to do whatever we can take to put this Ford Power Wheels Bigfoot team in the finals. That's where we want to be all weekend, and we're going to be in the winner's circle no matter what it takes.
Well, we apologize for the poor audio, but Gene talking through the helmet and the poor inclement conditions. And there's a look at a thrash under the snakebite truck. Let's see if we can't find out what's going on by going back to the pit area and Army Armstrong.
What you're looking at right now is a crew frantically trying to get a drive shaft. The front drive shaft went away on the snakebite. The Bigfoot crew, believe it or not, got him in the final. They said, no, we're not going to roll over. We'll go help them. We're going to beat them. We'll beat them on the track. So what they've got is 9 minutes to get the vehicle squared away, plus 3 minutes from the time you're called. You have 3 minutes from the time you're called to make the call. So really, what this crew is confronted with is 12 minutes. The Bigfoot crew came over and said, look, you stay in the truck. We'll put it back together for you. If we're going to beat you, we're not going to beat you by breakage. We're going to beat you on a racetrack, and we got about 12 minutes to find out what it's all about.
Call that great sportsmanship, but what that means is that Fred SHAFER could be the man to go to the finals if snakebite is not ready to go. So there is a look at the quagmire in the infield here at Indy. Let's go check with Fred SHAFER, Army.
Okay, Fred, you never give up, man. There's still a chance, isn't there? You might get in the final here.
Yeah, Army, it's real slick out there, as you know, and I've been having trouble coming on my first ramp. The truck's getting a little sideways, and the conditions are pretty poor out there, and we're just doing the best we can.
One of the things I noticed, when these guys that got a handle on you, got that lane choice, they keep putting you in the left lane. That does not seem to be the place to be. They don't want to be there, that's for sure.
That's right, Army. You're right there. The left lane is not near as good as the right lane, and obviously that's why they're putting me over there.
The weather conditions are just terrible here at the Indiana State Fairgrounds, but the fans are here, the drivers are here, and we'll find out who actually runs in the finals in just a moment. Stay with us. We're coming back to the Indiana State Fairgrounds. Back home again in Indiana, where it's cold and wet, and Ford Trucks present the PENDA four-wheel and off-road Jamboree Fall Nationals, a part of the B.F. Goodrich Performance Series. These Jamborees offer a host of activities for the truck lover as well as the entire family. To find out what a Jamboree is coming to your area, call or write the Special Events Promotion Company. Well, as we take a look at a very damp Jim Kramer, the Bigfoot crew chief, along with some of the crew members of the snakebite operation, a great job by both teams to get snakebite into the finals.
That's just an example of what a quality and class act the Bigfoot people are. They don't want to beat this guy by him sitting on a trailer. They want to beat him on a racetrack. You know, I respect that because they know full well he actually built that truck just to beat them.
Yeah, and earlier Army spoke to snakebite's opponent, Gene Patterson.
Well, Gene Patterson just put his boss away, but the big question of the day is, can you get this kid out of Colorado? He wants you big time, and you know it.
Yeah, Army, we've been watching the snake all day long. Boy, he's been laying down some killer passes out here. You know, the track, as you can see, it's just a real big slop out here. You know, we're doing everything we can. We keep detuning the motor. We keep tuning it down and tuning it down. But the Ford's just making so much horsepower out here this weekend. We're at our wit's end, you know. We can't make a gear change or nothing. We're at what our end's limit. So we're just going to push him as hard as we can off the line. We can see what we can do and end up in the winter circuit.
So it's Bigfoot, Gene Patterson, the near lane, snakebite, Rick Rattler in the far lane. Now keep in mind, Army, that Rattler took the snakebite truck to the finals 3 times in Canfield, Ohio, but could not come away with the win.
But today, by virtue of choose the good lane, the soft lane, I think that will definitely be to his advantage.
Well, and also, you heard Gene Patterson say there's nothing else they can do to Bigfoot. They have detuned this Ford as much as they can. They cannot change gears. They have to go with what they have.
Watch the finish line. That's what it's all about. Snakebite.
It is snakebite. Rick Rattler finally takes the victory here at the Indiana State Fairgrounds. Rattler in the Ford snakebite over the Ford Bigfoot and Gene Patterson.
Boy, that was a good run. And, you know, again, I got to give credit to the crew right there, the Bigfoot guys. They lost the battle, but they may win the war before the season's over.
Well, they certainly won an award for sportsmanship by going over and helping the snakebite crew get that Ford ready for the finals.
You know, a lot of people don't know that they're the ones that actually found that drive shaft messed up. He didn't know. He was not aware that he had a problem.
Yeah, and they helped to fix it, then snakebite comes back to do just that, fight him. Here's Rick.
On what has to be, Gary, the worst day of monster truck racing I've ever been involved in my life, I'm standing with the winner. Hey, it's got to be just as sweet today, whether it's raining or sunshine and blue skies. Congratulations, you definitely earned it.
Thanks, Army. Yeah, it's a little wet, but when you pull a win out like that, the Ford snakebite running as well as it was, it's kind of hard to face the wet. You know, it still feels just as good. We went into the finals there against Bigfoot. round before that, lost the drive shaft, and I got to really thank my crew, but also thank the Bigfoot crew, because they were over and helped put that drive shaft back in the little time that we had to get back to the racetrack.
Well, congratulations on a good win. Now, let's all go get dried out.
Okay, thanks, Army.
Well, we salute the Bigfoot team for their sportsmanship. We congratulate Snake Bite and Rick Rattler. For Army Armstrong, I'm Gary Lee. We'll see you next week on Trucks and Tractor Power. Now here's news of an exciting video release from Diamond P Sports.
Want to walk away with a free Diamond P hat? Well, now you can do just that when you buy And They Walked Away 3. Diamond P's latest helmet-hammering, bone-jarring thrill ride featuring motorsport's most perilous moments. By calling 1-800-257-9191, you get the free Diamond P hat and 70 minutes of heart-stopping action. Stock cars tangle and tumble on the oval high banks. Drag racers experience terrifying infernos. Sprint cars dance too close and pay the consequences. Mud racers, monster trucks, and motorcycles explode in awesome displays of men and metal turn to mayhem. And in each breathtaking incident, the driver beats the odds. To get your copy of And They Walked Away 3 plus a free Diamond P hat, call 1-800-257-9191 for credit card orders, or send check or money order for $24.95 plus $4 shipping and handling to the address on your screen. That's 1-800-257-9191.